The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here with probably one of my smarter and least attractive guests, frankly. So for those of you on YouTube, and that's just a dude, Jackson's, I'm sure, a fine looking dude, but not my bag of rocks, just saying. So, if you're on YouTube now, you can come in and be like, oh, or if you're on a podcast, like, I gotta see what this guy looks like. What kind of crap. Sadly, you look at me and go, you're calling him not good looking? So my apologies in advance. That said, I'll be honest, we got on a Zoom call and started chatting, as is our custom. And then we ran into a time thing. So I said, hey, Jackson, how about we start? I won't tell you at all what we're going to talk about. And Jackson, being the affable fellow he is, what? Yeah, sure. I don't care. So here's today's podcast. Jackson, for those of you who don't know, Jackson is our, we have two traffic guys. Jared kind of does most of what we spend internally, and he still helps our clients, but his focus would be what we spend internally. I don't think Jackson spends any money for us currently. But he spends a lot of money for our clients. So he's more focused on client side, hence why you see him more. That said, I know, Jackson, you probably have the same frustrating things over and over and over again, the way people look at stuff, questions they ask that you're like, I wish I could just answer all of them at one time. So when they come into our program, they're already like pre-programmed, ready to go. So I wanted to give you this opportunity to tell Clean Nation as a whole, what things do you wish you could tell them? If you had a microphone, which you now do, and could tell them anything about, don't think this, or don't ask that, or don't look at it this way, look at it that way, what would that be? So when they come to you, your life is easier.
Oh, loaded question.
Like, maybe you should have told me this earlier. I could have thought about it.
I guess probably, honestly, the biggest thing is, at least in the realm of, I guess, your business, your advertisements, stuff you do online, stuff you do in person. A lot of times people tend to look at it like a microcosm as opposed to a macrocosm. And so basically what I'm saying is you look at the small picture of things in terms of a short time frame. So maybe the past 2 days, the past week and a half, versus looking at the past month, or comparing month over month. And then again, comparing, what differences, what changes did I make? Because if you look at it, say, for example, you look at the month of November and you say, oh my goodness, my advertising costs went up and I didn't get any more leads than I did in October. And you go, well, okay. If you just look at that, you're going to say, man, maybe something underperformed or something didn't do well. But then if you look at the big picture of everything, you realize, well, November is the biggest shopping month of the year. Everybody is advertising in November. Hence, my advertising costs go up, and that's been documented year over year over year. And so not necessarily, you might be doing the same exact thing you did in October, but your costs could have, gone up 20%. And that makes sense. But if you look at it just in the picture, you might make a knee-jerk reaction in December and say, oh, I need to cut back because I didn't do well in November. When in fact, you really did pretty well for comparatively to the month before or the next month or compared to last year. It's just you look at the big picture versus the small picture, because then what ends up happening is you think, oh, something's not working, or something didn't work well, or I didn't get what I wanted, when in fact you had improvements. 9 times out of 10, you'll have improvements comparatively to what you did beforehand. And I see this all the time when I'm talking with people as they come to me and they say, I didn't have anything happen, or this has been going and nothing's happened. And I go, okay, well, what time period are you looking at? Well, I'm looking at the past 3 days. It's like, okay, well, let's take a step back. Let's look at the past 2 weeks, and we expand out the 2 weeks. Oh, well, looks like there was a little improvement. Looks like I got some more leads. Okay, let's look at the past 4 weeks. Wow, my leads are up 50%. Well, yeah, you can, it's going to change over a bigger picture compared to those small time periods. And most of the time when I'm talking with people and they look at the bigger picture and they go, oh, I guess it really isn't that bad. Okay, well, thanks. And that's the end, because when you look at it small and you see a hazard problem that comes up, you'll tend to make that adjustment, and then it ends up making things worse because you're basing it off of that small microcosm versus the bigger picture. And then the inverse could also be said, is you look at the past day and go, oh, wow, I did really well. Well, no, let's take a look at the whole week. I mean, the costs are a little bit high. Let's take the month. Costs are really high. Now we need to make some changes. And so you just need to look at that bigger picture, and you need to make either mental notes, paper notes, physical notes, whatever it may be, understanding what changes were made and when, so you can document those periods and understand, okay, I made some new ads, or I made a change to my business logo or my branding or anything along those lines, and it had this type of impact, right? And you got to make sure that you make, aside from launching a new business, you want to make small changes, 1 or 2 changes at a given time, because if you make a bunch of changes all at once, then you don't understand what's happening. So if you make, 10 new campaigns and you start running flyers and you start putting up lawn signs and you see your business increase by 100%, well, you won't necessarily know where that information or where that new business came from. It could come from any one of those 3 sources. But if you do, maybe I'm just going to do digital marketing for the first 2 weeks, and then I'll do the lawn signs for the last 2 weeks. And then I'll compare in that window, as opposed to looking at, a short period. You look at the big picture, you understand exactly what's making the changes, what's hurting, what's helping. And you don't overreact to, small, minute problems or small, minute wins.
Man, so I'm like taking notes as you're talking, A, because I'm like, that's also good stuff. And then B, things I wanted to respond. So I love this, because I'm going to jump on my soapbox real quick, and I'd love to hear your feedback, Jackson. So the first thing from a coach, because the cool thing is Jackson is really good in generally stays in his universe of how to get leads, how to turn those leads into bids. And because he's so specific at that, he's really, really good at it. I'm kind of more the general overall business. So I'm definitely not as good as Jackson is on the digital marketing side of that, but I know how to fit that into your business. So that's what I want to make sure we talk about. I'd love to hear Jackson's perspective as well, because we work in different worlds. We have different thoughts. So first and foremost, what I want to encourage all of you guys to do is get out of the better thing. Like, how much money do you want to make? More, as much as possible, better than I am now. Like, that is an impossible goal to hit. So if you go to Jackson or me or any other coach and go, hey, how, help me. And we go, great. Where do you want to go? You go, huge. Well, what's huge? Big. This is billion, as big as I can be. Like, I don't know what that means. That's really hard. So when you don't have a clear goal of, we want to add $10,000 a month of recurring revenue this month, we can't contextualize when, quote unquote, Facebook does bad. Like, what does that even mean? Right? Like, we got less than last month. Well, are we still hitting our goal or not hitting our goal? So first and foremost, have a clear goal, or else we're going to let our feelings take charge of this thing and not go with data. So I have had people literally come to me with a funnel. The one I'm thinking of specifically, I won't give her last name, but it's Renee Jackson, who you're aware of. She had a hiring funnel. She was stressed out. Halfway through the month, nothing's working. It's broken. I'm not getting any people, these kinds of statements. And we forced her to go through her numbers. And by golly, she was looking to hire 4 people that month. And it was the 3rd week of the month, and she had hired 3 people. So literally her funnel was completely on track, but she was not clear on her goals, right? Well, I just need 4 people and I hired 3. And she was going with her feelings, not with the data, which is where kind of Jackson and myself or the team can come in, into any coach, right? Someone that's outside of your business that can ask the difficult questions and kind of force you to focus. So first thing, have goals. So when an ad does quote unquote good or bad, we have a definition what the hell that means. What does good or bad mean? Like, something we might think is terrible, you might think is great, and vice versa. But if we're not clear on where we're going, we don't know. Second, multiple sources, right? The tough thing about AdWords or Facebook is they can really, really work and be scalable. And they're like, I'm retired. I'll just do this for the rest of my life. And as long as nothing ever changes, I'll be great, which is fine until something changes, which, November happens, an election happens. Apple comes out with a new iOS. Your Facebook account gets banned. The terms of service do what you can. An ad that used to say was legal is now it's not. Whatever the frick happens, it all changes. So that's kind of what I see as the overriding coaching, dovetailing with what you're saying, Jackson. How's that tying with your experience working with our people on the front lines?
Yeah. That sounds perfectly right. And I know a lot of people are going to be listening to this and we say, well, it's easier said than done. It's not your business. And it's like, yeah, we both, I have a business, Mike has a business. And when you're looking at your own business, it is definitely a lot harder to see the data through the personal love or tears, blood, sweat, everything you put into it. And it's not, it's definitely, it is easier said than done, but working with and talking with people on the outside can help you see that data as it is. And the more you do it, honestly, the more, kind of subconscious it becomes to look at the data before you start to get that reaction of, oh, it's just not working. Nothing's happening. When in fact, it is working. It is par for the course. You still have time. You're on reach with your goals. And so the more you do it, the better habits it builds. And it comes to the point where you're like Mike and I, where we just, we go, oh, well, it looks like we're not having any calls coming through. Nothing's happening. Let me go check our data. Oh, the data looks fine. Okay. We're fine. We're good. We're par for the course. And yeah, it's easier said than done, but it is doable and you will get there.
Well, and that's why you have a coach, right? Like, so funny when any of you guys have ever golfed or used video in your golf, your coach will say, hey, don't tuck your arm or do this or pivot. And you're like, I am doing that. How dare you? And then you look at the video and not even close. You're wildly doing the thing that he or she said. So it's like, yeah, that's why you have someone outside of the picture. When you're inside of your body or inside of your business, what you feel is not the reality. You need a coach that's outside that doesn't have those feelings that are going to get in the way, that can show you the reality. Okay. So it's thing number one. I'll see if we can squeeze 3 in the time that we got. Thing number 1 that you wish you could tell people that are looking for help growing their cleaning company with digital marketing is, 1, don't zoom in. I spent $319 on Facebook over the last 3 days and I didn't get any customers. Therefore, Facebook sucks. Like, zoom out and go, how many leads did you get? How many people opted in? How many clicks? Like, look at some data, give it some time, and have reasonable expectations, as opposed to just, I spent this much in September and got this much leads in October or November. It didn't work and I quit. Is that a fair summary of point 1?
Yep.
All right. If you could tell 2 other things to Cleaning Nation before they ever got to you for help, what would you tell them to make your life and their life easier?
So point 2, it plays back into goals, but set up your goals so you can reasonably do one, or I guess scale one thing at a time, right? You don't want to start with too much. Because I talk to a lot of people that go, oh, I need to hire. Oh, I need more clients. Oh, this sucks. I need to set up my emails. I need to do all this. You got 9 different things you have to do. It's like, okay, well, can't do all of them at once. And you're going to drive yourself insane if you do all of them at once. And they probably won't work if you do them all at once.
And more realistically, you feel like you have 9 things you need to do. In reality, there's probably 2 or 3 that you need to do. Is that fair? Did I completely miss?
No, exactly. Because in the grand scheme of things, you have three big areas. You have your business development, you have your employees, and you have your client or your customers. And everything you do falls into one of those 3: hiring employees, email marketing, Facebook ads, anything like that, accounting, hiring, HR, whatever. It falls in one of those 3 categories. So if you're setting up your goals to, I need to hire so many people, usually that's where we start. It's like, I need to hire people because if I don't hire people, I have to go clean. It's like, well, if you have to go clean, then your business development won't work and you can't bring on more clients because you don't have enough people to fulfill those clients or those customers. And so usually that's like the starting point for us. Might not be the starting point for everybody, but if we tried to do all 3 of those at one time, what if one takes off, or what if we hit a bottleneck, or what if one requires more work? Then we're juggling between your goals and you end up not reaching any of your goals because we're juggling too much at one time. So my big thing is always start with the one that, is going to snowball into the next, and then to the next, and then to the next, because it helps not only put perspective on what you have to do, but it makes everything a lot easier, really, for you, because that's what matters in the grand scheme of things.
And the way I would couch that or contextualize that is, don't start and stop, right? So whatever we're going to do, create a system is that's not, when things go bad, you put on your Superman or Superwoman cape and jump in and save the day, because that is fine the first 3 times because it feels fantastic to put on your cape and save the day. But the 39th time, when you just want to freaking break, it's not so fun. It's Saturday at 10 o'clock at night and you're stressing over this thing. So the way I would contextualize that is opposed to going by emotion, which is, oh my gosh, if I don't hire someone tomorrow, I've got to clean. So I'm going to lower my standards and do all sorts of crazy stuff and whatever. So like, we try and solve a 1 or 2 month problem in one day. And then when we get it kind of not on fire anymore, where it's not solved, it's just like, okay, I got some chump that I know isn't great, or 2 or 3 people that's still not enough. I'll run and start trying to get more clients, but we haven't really solved that problem. So kind of create a system that's going to run without you, as opposed to just running from fire to fire to fire to fire. put out install a sprinkler system before you go to the next fire. Am I totally derailing what you're thinking, or are we saying the same thing?
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
All right. We got time for one more, baby. So number one,
big picture versus small picture.
Yeah. Have goals and make sure that you're giving a reasonable amount of data against those goals, not just today feels terrible or today feels great, therefore I'm terrible or great. That's terrible. Thing two, God, I forgot thing two already. What was it? I was so focused on one. I forget. We talked so much on two. What was one?
Don't start and stop.
Yes. Create systems that are not you doing everything and take a little longer, right? As opposed to, even if it sucks, like I got to clean today and blah, blah, blah. And this guy says he's going to come, but I don't want to, or, I've got leads, so I'm good. I don't have to create a system because I went out and got a big client. Like, always create a system. All right. What's the third thing that drives you nuts that people come, that if you could just tell them, life would be better?
So third thing, really has to do with marketing, is just start. Like, it's not going to be perfect the first time. You don't know what you don't know. And so if you spend weeks at a time building out the perfect landing page with the perfect copy, the perfect ad, the perfect images, it could suck. And most of the time, the more you put into it, or the more thought you put into it, the less likely it's going to perform. I'm pretty sure if I tracked all my stuff back to when I started this 7 years ago, and I did a chart of time spent on ad versus performance, the stuff I whipped out in 5-10 minutes, probably my best spenders, my best performers. And the stuff I put days into, or months, even like big commercial campaigns, didn't do anything. And that's because the more you put into it, the more you overthink, the more little tweaks you put into it. And as we say here, you got to have your crappy version 1.0. Your crappy version 1.0 could end up being your awesome version 1.0, but you won't know until you do it. And the thing with marketing is too, the ad could be the bad part at the front end, or the landing page could need tweaks, but you won't know until you start testing. And then if you make adjustments, you have to understand, was the ad performing, or is the landing page performing? Am I missing here, or am I missing on the back end? And you just don't know until you start doing it. And if you spend weeks doing it, you're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to spin your wheels. So get something out. It shouldn't take you any longer than probably 2-3 days to get your ads together, maybe a week for a landing page. And
actually, let's put that in even more. Like, that's calendar time, not clock time. Clock time, an ad might take you 20 minutes. A landing page, if you know how to do it, less than an hour. So yeah, even closer than that. And let me emphasize, just to show you how 1,000% right Jackson is, how strongly we believe in this. We get paid a lot for consulting on, is this a good ad or a bad ad or a good funnel or whatever. And I'm dead honest. So I don't know. Jackson, you'll tell me if you say this as much as I do. I don't know. The best answer is to test it. So I can tell you this ad is garbage. There's almost no chance it's going to work. Let's try something different. If it's just no call to action, there's just certain things that you need to have to make sure like it's even got a chance to work. But I'll be danged if you gave me 4 or 5 good ads that were all effective and said, pick the best, the one that is the most effective. I have no freaking idea. My answer with my money is to test it. And with your money is to test it. But if we're constantly trying to make this perfect ad and the stupidest stuff works that you're like, I would have never guessed. We always go with that. This is one time I wish Jared was here because he spends the stuff for art. The stuff that we think is going to be amazing sometimes is, oftentimes it's not. The stuff he's like, this is a dumb idea I had. I'll just throw it up and put a couple bucks behind it. People go freaking nuts for it. So we're really good at advertising, and our answer still half the time is, let's test it. Let's test it, because Jackson and I can't read the future. The people will speak, and they speak with their dollars. So we might have, if you're looking to get an A in marketing, Jackson and I can help you be like, oh, this is really good marketing. This is really bad marketing. If you turn this into but we're not looking to get an A. We're looking to get people to move and take action. If that's what you're looking to do, the best way. And there's better marketers than us. I guarantee the best marketers are going to go test it. There's no way to know without testing it. All right. We are just about out of time. And on our weekly meetings, because Jackson's always the silent one, we force him to, we invite, encourage, allow him to finish up the meeting. So we're going to say to the podcast, Jackson, take us out with any final thoughts you have, my friend.
Final thoughts. People will be listening to this before Christmas. So I hope everybody had a very nice Hanukkah and have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't speak to you guys before the end of the year. And yeah, we're coming up on a new year. Let's make sure everybody seizes the opportunity. It's going to be a great year.
Nicely said. As is his custom, Jackson's super sweet and kind. For those of you like, I like this, I would like more. We have more. We've done almost 700 podcasts. I've written 2 books, videos, masterclass, everything you need to build a 6-7 figure cleaning company. GrowMyCleaningCompany.com. Check it out now. I will see you there. Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me, but like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now. 602-932-6431. Give me a text. Say hey. Can't wait to meet you.